Being the President of the United States is a tough gig. You age about 20 years and 4, and the food on Air Force One? Let's just say it's no Michelin star experience. But what about the perks? And more importantly, what happens when you're no longer the leader of the free world? Today, we're diving into the bizarre world of post-presidency life and the rules former presidents must follow. From security protocols to the surprisingly strict rules about driving, we're uncovering the strange and often hilarious realities of being an ex-president. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to laugh, and maybe learn a thing or two. Let's address the elephant in the room, the 22nd Amendment, which tells presidents, 2 terms and you're out. This amendment, ratified in 1951, put a hard limit on presidential terms, ensuring no one could pull a Franklin D. Roosevelt and get re-elected indefinitely. Think about it. Bill Clinton, with his saxophone skills, could have charmed his way into a 3rd, 4th, maybe even a 5th term. And Barack Obama? With his eloquence, he could have probably convinced the entire nation to adopt his workout routine, let alone vote for him again. But alas, the 22nd Amendment stands as a stark reminder that even the most popular presidents have an expiration date. It's like a political timeout corner, forcing former presidents to trade in their power suits for comfy sweaters and contemplate their legacies. Former presidents, those commanders-in-chief who once held the nuclear codes, are no longer allowed to drive on public roads. Yes, you heard that right. Those leisurely Sunday drives to get ice cream, gone. This rule, implemented after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, prioritizes the safety of former presidents, even if it means they have to kiss their driving privileges goodbye. George W. Bush joked about this with Jay Leno, saying, "I have driven on my ranch." But let's be honest, can you imagine Bill Clinton stuck in rush hour traffic? Or Donald Trump navigating a roundabout? Maybe it's for the best that they leave the driving to the professionals. Security first, right? Now, before you start feeling too sorry for these grounded ex-presidents, let's talk about some of the perks that come with the job. Thanks to the Former Presidents Act of 1958, former presidents and their spouses receive a generous travel allowance. Think of it as a retirement gift from the American people, a thank you for your service in the form of frequent flyer miles and 5-star accommodations. And these aren't your average budget-friendly vacations. We're talking about trips to deliver speeches, attend conferences, and generally gallivant around the globe. Just imagine. Bill Clinton sipping cocktails on a beach in Bali, reminiscing about the good old days of NAFTA negotiations. Or George W. Bush, brush in hand, finally finding the time to perfect his artistic skills in the south of France. Retirement never looks so good. Next up, we're diving into the world of presidential libraries, those grand repositories of history, documents, and maybe a few slightly embellished stories. The Presidential Libraries Act of 1955 made it a tradition for presidents to establish these libraries, ensuring their papers, artifacts, and legacies are preserved for generations to come. Think of it as a giant taxpayer-funded scrapbook, meticulously curated to paint the most flattering picture possible. These libraries also serve as valuable research centers, attracting historians, students, and anyone curious to learn about the inner workings of the presidency. Just imagine the treasures hidden within those walls. Nixon's secret tapes, Reagan's jelly bean collection, Clinton's saxophone playlist. Presidential libraries are a fascinating glimpse into the lives and legacies of the men who've led our nation. Leaving the White House doesn't mean leaving the workforce entirely. Former presidents are expected to set up their own post-presidency offices, and thanks to the GSA, General Services Administration, they receive funding to do just that. It's like a severance package, but instead of a cardboard box filled with office supplies, they get a budget to hire staff, rent office space, and continue their work on various projects. So, while they may not have the same level of influence as they did in the Oval Office, former presidents can still wield a significant amount of soft power through their foundations, organizations, and speaking engagements. No one is above the law, not even the most powerful person in the world, or former powerful person in this case. Former presidents are subject to the same legal scrutiny as any other citizen. No special treatment, No immunity from prosecution, just the cold, hard reality of the justice system. It's a stark reminder that in a democracy, even the highest office doesn't exempt you from the rule of law. Being president is like signing a lifetime membership to the I Know Things You Don't club. But here's the catch. You can't actually talk about most of those things, ever. Former presidents are barred from sharing or selling classified information, no matter how juicy or tempting it may be. We're talking about national security, sensitive intelligence, and information that could compromise the safety of countless individuals. So, while it might be tempting to spill the beans on alien encounters or secret government experiments, former presidents are sworn to secrecy for life. Remember that time your grandpa tried to use your smartphone and accidentally posted a selfie on your Instagram story? Now imagine that, but with the leader of the free world and access to highly sensitive information. We're talking about the surprisingly strict rules surrounding electronic devices for former presidents. These devices are subject to rigorous security protocols designed to prevent hacking, leaks, and those awkward moments when a tweet accidentally starts an international incident. Some former presidents have a better track record than others when it comes to digital discretion. So, the next time you see a former president struggling to send a text message, cut them some slack. They're navigating the complex world of presidential cybersecurity. Ever get excited about a surprise package arriving at your doorstep? For former presidents, that feeling is quickly replaced with a healthy dose of caution, thanks to the ever-vigilant Secret Service. Even after leaving office, former presidents can't just accept deliveries willy-nilly. Every package, letter, and suspiciously shaped object is subject to rigorous screening by the Secret Service, ensuring nothing nefarious makes its way into the hands of a former commander-in-chief. It's like having a personal security detail for your mailbox, which, when you think about it, is probably a good thing. So the next time you see a former president accepting a package, rest assured it's probably just a harmless gift basket from a well-wisher, thoroughly vetted by the best in the business. And finally, we arrive at the Trowbridge House, a charming little abode located just a stone's throw from the White House. This isn't some presidential timeshare or a secret underground bunker. It's actually a guest house reserved for former presidents when they're in town. Think of it as a presidential bed and breakfast, a place for former commanders-in-chief to rest their weary heads and reminisce about the good old days of executive orders and Oval Office meetings. It's a chance for them to reconnect, share stories, and maybe even offer some unsolicited advice to the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's like a high-security reunion, but instead of awkward small talk and bad casserole, they get to discuss matters of national importance and debate the merits of various foreign policy decisions. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the strange, surprising, and often hilarious world of life after the White House. From security protocols to the perks and pitfalls of post-presidential life, we've covered it all. Even after leaving the Oval Office, former presidents still play a unique and important role in American society. They are elder statesmen, historical figures, and yes, even occasional sources of amusement.